Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Who's the Boss has done 13 most expensive tech fails of all time, and today we are going to be reacting to it. I saw some, what did I see, on Instagram maybe, or TikTok or something, and I saw some things that he's up the level of the filming and stuff, so we're gonna have a look. Let's see. Let's see what we've got today. Like, look, he started in a van. Budget's gone up already.
Jewel thief, but I got a bit of a problem. I don't have any jewels. So, I'm off for a little day trip to the Louvre to get some. The thing is, though, the Louvre is world's most visited museum. It's home to humanity's rarest treasures like the Mona Lisa and even the French crown jewels. And so to actually breach this security would require an absolute black ops, cover of night, Ocean's 11 level operation. Oh.
So he is
because in October 2020...
This is a mental start, by the way. Like, he's added so many like graphics and everything.
4 thieves literally committed daylight robbery at the museum. They rocked up to a window in a furniture lift, wearing high-vis vests during opening hours. And they just took the crown jewels. They hopped back into their lift, descended comically slowly back down to the ground before disappearing away on their scooters.
What?
At 9:30 a.m. Ooh. Just in time for a breakfast croissant. See, the Louvre had a bit of a tech problem. Their entire cybersecurity system was based on software almost as old as me, with a 2014 audit finding that they were still using Windows 2000, which was well past the point of still getting security updates. And yeah, they did have CCTV. It was just facing the other direction.
What?
So they had no view of this balcony being used to access the window. Okay, but still, these thieves would have had to be something special, right? To be able to identify this critical blind spot. Oh, that's right. The password to the entire video surveillance network for the Louvre was Louvre.
I knew it. I knew it. As soon as he said the password, it was gonna be. Bro, what the hell? This makes me think I could do crimes.
It was not a joke earlier, by the way. This actually happened. Allowing them to drive off into the rush hour traffic with $102 million.
Oh, light work. 102 mil. I could get 100 mil by guessing a password. I go into the Bank of England and just like hack their systems. The password is bank. 100 mil, done.
The Louvre's president, Laurence Descartes, was so appalled that she tried to resign the very next day. And I would still only call this a 5 out of 10 tech fail. Because it got me thinking, if an easy-to-guess password and 4 dudes in a furniture lift are enough to cause $102 million worth of damage, then how expensive can it get when the mistakes get bigger? That's what I found out. And I kind of wish I hadn't. Like, you know Dyson? The company who makes your vacuum, your hand dryer, your hair dryer. Essentially, if it moves air, then Dyson will sell it to you for like $400. Well, in 2016, James Dyson decided that what he really wanted to move was people. So he started secretly building an electric car. And look, it wasn't a crazy idea. Dyson specializes in high-performance batteries and electric motors, and that's exactly what an EV needs, which is why they went big. Developing a battery pack that could go 600 miles on a single charge. We're still not seeing 600 miles now, and this was 2019. Not to mention a floating hologram heads-up display, 7 seats, and a design that I think I'm physically attracted to.
I mean, it all sounds good. It sounds good, but how, like, the last one was a 5 out of 10. How is this, like, how much money is he putting into it or something that it just doesn't work or something?
Ergonomically redesigned from scratch.
So it's going to be something as basic as like, oh, but the battery couldn't be attached to the car or something. It has to be something stupid.
Mr. Dyson personally hates the lack of lumbar support in normal cars. You can kind of see his point, to be fair. Not our most comfortable getaway. The slight problem is Dyson ended up reworking so much that they eventually realized just to break even, they would have to sell each of these cars at today's equivalent of $275,000.
Ew!
I don't think we have enough jewels. And it took our good friend James burning through $900 million of his own personal money to come to this realization. At which point, he had no choice but to scrap the entire project, go home, and sit on a chair that probably gave him back pain.
I hear it. 900 million to find out you need to make don't get me wrong, it's a nice car, but like that's a 275 grand car. You could buy a cheap car and have free petrol forever, or free electricity. Like you buy a Tesla, have free electricity forever for that money.
We want some lunch. But sometimes the biggest cost of a mistake is to your reputation, like it was with Taco Bell. Because in 2025, this company implemented an...
I like this little storyline he's making as well. Like the fact that he's robbed somewhere, then he got the getaway in a car, and now he's gone, like, he's just stopped at Taco Bell for some lunch. Like,
AI-powered
like
drive-thru system in over 500 of their restaurants, hoping to improve customer experience. And let's just say it wasn't very good at taking orders.
And what will you drink with that?
I want a large Mountain Dew.
And your drink?
Oh my god.
Oh, and my absolute favorite is when this guy asks,
Can I get 18,000 water cups, please?
Okay. What can I get for you?
the way that the system just instantly dies and hands it over to a human worker is class. And just a repost of this AI breakdown on YouTube is currently sitting at nearly 30 million
I mean,
views.
if
And
they
so,
posted it
responding
themselves.
to the fact that their AI's greatest achievement was becoming a meme,
How
Taco Bell's
much?
chief digital officer, Dane Matthews, told the Wall Street Journal that they were going to think carefully about where not to use
The only thing I will say about this is I think if that becomes like a viral thing, like 28 mil, people are seeing this video of like, oh, AI drive-through. People will go there just to make a meme. And you'll buy something when you're there, most likely.
AI going forward. Gee, thanks Taco Bell. How did that not occur to you before? Having just watched McDonald's cancel their own AI drive-thru after it went viral for putting bacon on ice cream and 9 sweet teas in one order. They keep trying, they keep failing.
3
In
out
the
of 10.
process, they just keep funding
That's
their own
alright.
funerals. Where's the rest?
That's all they had left.
What about yours?
Oh, I had a croissant.
Right. We should probably go then. But it's more embarrassing for Will Smith, who used AI to replace people, but
I
just
saw this.
didn't even realize. Last year, he posted a video from his music tour.
Yeah,
and
this went
do you notice
super
anything a little
viral,
off
yeah.
about it? Specifically, the crowd.
Like people's hands, they've got like, there's people there with like 8 fingers. Just things are just off. Everyone's faces are a little bit off. It's, yeah.
That has clearly been edited with AI. Kind of looks like Will wasn't quite satisfied with the turnout, so decided to embellish it a little with some AI-generated concert goers, hoping no one would notice. Big fan of the guy, so moved by Will's music that he's wiping his tears through his glasses. The sign saying from West Philly to West Swiggy, and especially the one claiming that Will helped them survive cancer. The idea of all of this being AI
Imagine if that one was true, though.
Horrific news for Will Smith's, let's be honest, already waning reputation. With every comment some sort of joke at his expense, like unreal concert man. Literally. And Will Smith has not only just melted his fans' hearts with his concert, but also melted their entire bodies. But the worst part, the entire fiasco was an accident. Turns out, the crowds were real. You can see them in phone footage from the gigs, and bafflingly, in photos posted by Smith himself, where you can directly cross-reference things, like the Swiggy sign was there in his Switzerland show,
So why
although
is
it
it-
actually says Swizzy. So most likely, Will's social media team just used an AI tool to put together the highlight reel. They fed in genuine photos and videos, but because the tool itself was AI,
That's so
introduced
bad.
all of these unintended side effects. Either way, damage is done. Everyone thinks Will Smith faked a crowd to stoke his ego. He's the AI crowd guy now. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. That's the thing. Like I've seen his shows. They are mad. Like there's a lot of people. He wouldn't need to fake it.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
But speaking of men with image problems, you've probably seen Elon Musk's Tesla Optimus humanoid robot at this point, even if it was only as a guy in a costume. Musk has stated that the Optimus robot will eventually account for 80% of Tesla's value, which Gotta say, sounds like a ludicrous prediction. He's also claimed that Tesla currently has 2 of these Optimus robots actually working. So when you see one out here serving drinks at a product demo, you're kind of expecting the real deal, right?
Yeah.
The fall was embarrassing enough, but it's actually the hand movement that got people talking. Look closer. Doesn't it look an awful lot like it's removing a headset? Kind of like the thing was actually being remote controlled.
Oh, I did hear about this
human
one.
Operator. And Tesla have a track record of doing exactly this, putting human-operated robots out there and deliberately being very lax about letting people know that these are not fully autonomous. Add in the fact that Musk is currently chasing a $1 trillion payout from Tesla, where one of the goals that he needs to hit is to ship 1 million bots.
Oh my
and
God.
it starts to make sense why he's doing way too much to convince you that the future is now. Maybe just hang on until you have a working prototype.
4 out of 10,
before
okay.
showing it off.
I might
At
see
least
another one that's like a,
what
I want to see
Nothing
like an
did when they
8
wanted
or
to
9.
impress customers with the camera on their new flagship phone 3, holding a bunch of demo events in stores. 5 photographs were shown off on these in-store demo units with the text, "Here's what our community has captured with the phone 3. Do you want to know what's crazy? Zoom into the reflection of this one, and you can actually see the DSLR camera,
Oh
not
my
phone 3,
days.
that took it. And then, with a little internet sleuthing, fans came to realize that in fact, every single one of these shots was in fact a publicly available stock photo. Nothing eventually came out to claim that they were just placeholder images that
Bro,
they
this
had
is
intended
it's
to
just
replace,
so-
but that the units
It's just so basic. Like you're making a camera brand, take photos with the camera. It's
had
so
gotten to stores
basic.
before that happened. Malicious or not, though, this is a pretty costly, extremely avoidable PR moment to be having while being the underdog just as you release your first ever
another 4 out of
flagship
10 though.
smartphone. But
Trying to see
Nvidia
something.
has definitely lost a lot more rep. And didn't have a huge amount to lose in the first place, ever since they pivoted their focus towards providing graphics cards to giant AI companies, kind of ignoring their original customers, the gamers. But then, instead of deciding that it was time to listen to the players, Nvidia just decided to go full-on friendly fire with DLSS 5. So DLSS, which stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling,
Okay.
has been one of Nvidia's superpowers
Charlotte, thank you
for
for
a
the
long
sub.
time. It's basically a smart graphics technology, which means that instead of each generation having to keep doubling the amount of hardware they're giving you, they can instead upgrade the resolution and the frame rates in your games using clever machine learning tricks. However, the latest version, DLSS 5, goes one step
does this
further
do?
to upgrade even the lighting and the textures too, which sounds fantastic, right? Who doesn't want a prettier game? But let's
Yeah.
actually think about it for a second. This scene of Grace from Resident Evil Requiem is a scene of her heading to investigate the house where her mum was murdered in front of her eyes. But Nvidia's AI slop filter doesn't know that. It just sees a face that looks a little dark and traumatized, uses its training data, which tells it that faces look better when they're yassified with blush and eyeliner like your resident ego, but in the process completely flies in the face of the possibly months that the developers spent handcrafting the very deliberate way that they wanted her to look in this scene. Or why does the professor from Hogwarts Legacy need more wrinkles, guys? It really feels like this is just AI seeing an older person, then going
I
through the
get
thousands
it,
of stock
but at the
photos it's been
same
trained
time, like I didn't notice that much of a difference. That it just kind of
on
seemed
to
alright.
make her more old. It's funny because
Like I
CEO
saw
Jensen
the wrinkles, for example, were like, I don't know.
Huang responded to the overwhelming backlash, arguing that it's not about just putting an AI filter over everything, and that instead DLSS 5 is meant to be
integrated with the artist. And so it's about giving the artist the tool of AI.
I get
made
it
it
in terms of it.
extra
It will.
awkward when it came out that the developers of
It
these
will be
games
buggy on some games.
found out at the same time as the public that their games were being altered in this way. 5 out of 10. Nvidia's gamer cred was already.
No, I
in the
do.
bin.
I do get it in terms of it's bad for the devs who are trying to make the game look a specific way. I get that, but I didn't think it was like a 5 out of 10. That to me didn't alter my opinion of it more than some of the other ones have.
Now it's in hell. And while we're down there, there's a few fails so far where there's been some mystery as to whether or not it's been a deliberately perpetrated crime or not. Not so much the case with ransomware, a type of malware that locks you out of accessing your data so that criminals behind the attack can sell it back to you. But at least there are companies out there like Digital Mint who specialize in negotiating those ransom payments down. Right? You know, people who truly understand the criminal mind.
What?
Yeah, about that. In 2023, it was actually employees from inside these companies who used this specialized knowledge to carry out their own attacks. They targeted at least 5 American firms. They stole the data and demanded millions in return.
They've got a company that is designed to help you get stuff back. That specialize in it. They just go, yeah, you know what? I mean, the fact that that's a thing in the first place, I wouldn't trust anyone that worked there. Jacob, thank you for the 3 months. How are you going to trust someone that knows how to do that?
But this is where it gets truly unhinged. When those victims panicked and they called Digital Mint up for help, who did Digital Mint assign to the cases? Well, none other than one of the guys that attacked them, Angelo Martino, who, in basically the human embodiment of the evil Kermit meme, had managed to put himself in a position where he was playing both sides and negotiating with himself. Must have been some tough negotiations, because he managed to get all 5 of these companies to pay up. One of them even paid $26.8 million, and it was a non-profit.
What?
Definitely a non-profit now. Can you believe that just months before, Digital Mint featured one of these guys in their employee spotlight? And I quote, "We bridge the gap between good, hardworking people and bad actors."
Days.
They had no idea how right they were. And basically, everyone lost here. The ransomed firms ended up paying out $75 million. No one's ever going to call up Digital Mint again without thinking twice. And the 3 employees involved have been charged with up to 20 years in prison each. 6 out of 10.
I don't know if you can put that as a 6, you know. I think that's like that sounds like an 8. Like 75 mil, 3 people got 20 years in jail. That to me that sounds like as bad as it's gonna get.
Well, but where it goes beyond funny into just straight up terrifying is when a man named Sami Asdufal developed an app to allow him to control his DJI Romo robot vacuum using a PS5 controller.
That's pretty
Simply
cool.
because he said sounded fun. But that's not the scary part. Unfortunately, Asdufal didn't realize his own coding power. The custom remote control app he built pretty quickly using Claude AI code accidentally granted him control of over 7,000 DJI robot vacuum cleaners across 24 countries.
This is scary.
Connected to DJI servers. How? Because instead of DJI encrypting the data from its devices like they should have, it was literally laid out to him in plain text. 0 authentication required, allowing him complete access. So, okay, he could now vacuum anyone's house on a whim. That feels like a Doofenshmirtz level scheme. Evil, but ultimately harmless. Until you realize that these robots all had cameras and microphones, and that he also happened to have access to the live feeds from them. Not to mention the floor plan of each house that the vacuums had mapped out with all of their sensors, and their location too, via their IP addresses. Thankfully, he was a nice guy about it. He immediately reported the flaw to DJI.
I was gonna say, like, the fact that this man has gone, you know what, I'm going to code my controller to my robot vacuum. The fact that that's his main goal here. He doesn't sound like a bad guy. He sounds just like he's bored. I don't think he's...
And they immediately rewarded him with a 30k payout.
That's nice.
Just imagine how catastrophic this could have been if he wasn't a nice guy.
I think it could have been an 8 out of 10, but I think it's actually like a 1 out of 10.
Remember, Asdufal didn't hack into DJI servers or do anything complex. He simply became god of all RoboVacs by accident. And it's just...
Oh yeah, they can literally spy on people. They have, well, one, you have the robbing side where it's like, yeah, you know the layout of the house, you can see where stuff is. So, you know, you could drive around, find where the expensive stuff is. 2, you literally will get all the personal information from everyone. 3, they can blackmail them. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff that could happen there.
Mad to think that someone can so easily stumble into so much personal data from you. At least when you're using Surfshark VPN, our sponsor, anyone who might be snooping isn't getting anything useful because your identity is masked. And they just made it even crazier by launching this brand new custom standard called DOSOS. Instead of cramming everyone's data into one shared tunnel, like a traditional VPN, DOSOS gives you your own dedicated private data lane. And the reason that I bang on about Surfshark is because it's like the one deal in tech that feels
a lot
like
that could have been done.
With the code boss, you can literally get Surfshark for $1.60.
Yeah, you're getting blackmailed by your vacuum cleaner.
That will cover you plus an entire crowd at a Will Smith concert, if you wanted. Now, at least Sammy had the decency to feel bad about his accidental data theft. Can't say the same for ChatGPT, which is meant to revolutionize search by accessing everything on the internet and bringing it to you. Now, that would require having the rights to a lot of content that would end up expensive and time-consuming to acquire. So naturally, OpenAI just ignores that part. Why? Go fast and break things, of course. Who needs the law when you have a ridiculously ballooned valuation? So it's a shock to absolutely no one then that a group of authors and publishers are suing OpenAI for copyright infringement. But it's what's happened as part of their investigation that's been the dramatic upset. Because the group managed to acquire leaked Slack messages and emails from OpenAI in which their employees openly discussed the mass deletion of 2 datasets the AI was trained on that they knew consisted of pirated books. Hilariously named Books 1 and Books 2, by the way, in case it was unclear. So not only did they have other people's pirated data, but they knew full well that what they were doing was wrong, and tried to dispose of the evidence. So, a New York district court has now ordered OpenAI to hand over those messages. And if those messages demonstrate willful infringement, and I don't really see how they couldn't, this could take the damages anywhere from $750 per piece of stolen work to possibly $150,000 per work. An insane amount on the scale of data that these guys are working with. We don't know the total fines they could face yet, but we can get some idea from a recent lawsuit against Anthropic for similar copyright infringement, which saw them settling for $1.5 billion.
Surely this is like a 9.
Settling.
7 for 1.5 billion.
But while the exact consequences of that are still up in the air, OpenAI has recently had an even bigger oopsie that's already cost them some very real, very large dollars. See, in 2025, the company announced a noble new mission that doom scrolling wasn't bad enough as it was, and that what humanity really needed was an entirely new short-form video app called Sora that lets you doom scroll content.
Yeah, I've seen. Is this the Jake Paul one?
A slop talk, if you will.
Was that the Jake Paul one?
Fun, well, downplaying the dystopian impending threat of anyone being able to create a deepfake in like 2 clicks.
Yeah, okay.
Sam Altman gave all users global permission to create videos using his own likeness, which of course immediately backfired.
Terrifying.
With a litany of embarrassing videos mocking the guy. Like this one of him begging for GPUs at a doorbell camera.
I can't train anything. Please, if you have anything, A100s, 3090s, I'll take them.
Physically stealing art from Studio Ghibli.
Give them back! Nope, too late. Hey, come back here. Free art, baby!
Or this one of Altman hosting a Hunger Games style competition,
forcing horrifying,
man. Fight over literal slop. And then, of course, this, which I present without comment.
Meow.
Turns out, Super Sam did this to himself.
Slop talk.
Absolutely
Tick
nothing.
slop was
Sora shut down just 6 months after starting. Let me try and put into perspective just how much of a flop this slop was. Sora generated in total $2.1 million in revenue.
Okay.
Sora was costing them, at peak usage, around $15 million per day to run, all while the user base was collapsing under their feet with a 66% drop.
I thought Jake Paul was like
90 days.
invested in it, was doing well or something, but Matt.
OpenAI also, in the process of losing Sora, lost an investment deal with Disney. Disney was going to pay OpenAI for a stake in the company, which would have also given Sora users access to 200 plus characters from across the entire Disney universe. How much was Disney going to pay them? $1 billion. Whoops. Now, you already know that in 2022, Elon Musk purchased Twitter.
Mental.
Mountains of money. We've been living with the consequences ever since. But there is one consequence that you might have missed. That Musk is now being sued by the investors who originally put their money behind that deal. And the reason is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a courtroom. So do you remember when Musk was trying to wiggle out of buying Twitter? He'd already committed at this point, but he was trying to pull away because he said too many of its users were actually
I think I
bots,
quit Twitter
not
before that.
people. And by the way, he said this on Twitter, publicly, in tweets. Well, those tweets tanked Twitter's stock price. That made all of these investors panic. They believed him. They assumed that the whole thing was falling apart. And so they hurriedly sold the shares they had, losing millions compared to what they paid for them. But the deal wasn't off. Twitter took Elon to court and forced him to buy Twitter anyway, at the original agreed price of $54.20 per share. But all those investors who sold their shares at a loss, they never got their money back. Which leads us to now, where a California jury has declared Musk liable for misleading them with his own tweets. Tweets which he himself described under oath as stupid tweets. You just can't make
It is
this
mental
stuff
though
up.
that like you can tweet something and be like, you can tweet something and if people believe it, I don't know, like, it feels weird that that can be something that actually affects stocks just based on like your opinion or something. But you also, yeah, I do get the whole held accountable for
Man
it.
who bought Twitter
I don't know,
to
it
protect
just-
free speech is being sued for what he freely said.
That's what I
Stupid.
mean.
For up
He
to
worded that way better than me.
$2.6 billion. And if you think that's a lot of money, then you're not ready for the metaverse. Do you remember when Facebook rebranded to Meta out of nowhere and made a massive bet on our near future becoming almost exclusively virtual reality? The hub for
Yeah.
which was meant to be Horizon Worlds, an online VR world where you can hang out with all your other friends who definitely have a Quest headset. Now, because they were trying to take VR from merely something that people use to play games into this alternate reality where we'll all one day live and work as well as play, it was important to have the infrastructure for users to visit different worlds and create their own for whatever use they might want. Like, for instance, taking a fake selfie in front of a fake 240p Eiffel Tower, while
Okay.
trying not to let the fake existential dread creep in too much. Wait, no, the dread was real. Well, it seems like Meta are starting to catch up
Yes.
with the rest of us who already know that no one's interested in hanging out in VR, whether it gives us legs or not. Because this year, they announced that they were
So
removing
weird.
Horizon Worlds from the Quest App Store, deciding instead to focus 100% of their effort on mobile instead. Because yes, this is exactly what the phone user base has been yearning for. But then, a glimmer of hope for the roughly 4 remaining Horizon Worlds fans, Meta did a U-turn and announced that, in fact, no, we're going to be keeping VR access to the platform after all, just, according to them, to support the fans who've reached out. Must have been a long day going through all of those emails. But Horizon Worlds, as embarrassing as it is just one tiny part of the metaverse's failure. Because amidst the fallout, we've also come to learn the total amount of money that the whole metaverse project has
Oh,
lost.
no.
And you're going to want to sit down for this one.
I
We've
am.
seen millions this video. We've even seen a couple of billion. But Meta burned through $80 billion. That's pretty much what it would cost to end world hunger for a year. What did it get spent on? This.
Sorry, how's that a 9 out of 10? What is a 10 out of 10 on this scale?
Cheers, Zuck. I gotta get out of here.
What the hell is a 10 out of 10? That is mental. I like that, you know. That was like one of those informational videos, but it felt like insanely well done. Like, I feel like we've seen a bunch of those. But that one was like the same thing, just, yeah, and like made for a purpose instead of felt like it was just a couple people that don't really care about the topic. Great video.